Juicy Gray. They have not skipped a beat, and they just have made a statement today that they could be and should be considered as a number 1 seed. There's a lot of factors that were there. Very impressive 92-73 win over arch rival North Carolina. They're having fun at Duke. They are the ACC champions.
Yep.
Yes. Thanks for doing this. We're really excited about it. Let's go back before we talk about the championship season, though, and talk about the year before. I know we were just talking about it before we started the call. That loss to NC State in the ACC Tournament the season before. For you guys, how much motivation did that give you going into the offseason and going into that 2012-2013 season to try to win the ACC championship?
Really starting off on a high note here, huh?
Yeah, I know. Get all the bad stuff out of the way first.
But after we lost NC State, our run in the NCAA tournament was really good, right? Was that the year we lost
it was.
Stanford?
Yep.
And we just had like a really good feeling around our team, I think, even though we lost that game. But I think that whole year we kind of like just built off of that run. Like I think it started right away for us. Like in the NCAA tournament, we turned stuff around and figured out like our chemistry was really good and we kind of built right from that right away.
So then going into the next season, then you had all that momentum coming from that deep run against Stanford in the NCAA tournament. When did you guys know, when you started maybe camp, or was it early in the regular season, that team the next year, the 2012-2013 season, could be a special season?
I feel like I thought it right away, just having like the core of I don't think Lex was with us in NC State, so having us go through what happened with NC State and then all of us coming back and then adding someone like Lex to the team too, it was like I had a really good feeling, I felt, because I felt like we had gone through enough of like good stuff and bad stuff, and we're able to be even more like senior, and so I feel like I knew it pretty early on.
Yeah, I think we had a special, like, between our class and E's class, like, that was your freshman year that we lost to NC State, right, E?
Yeah.
And then by the time, like, they were sophomores, I think, like, our class and their class had really, like, we got along pretty well and had a good bond between us. And then, like Tricia said, once you added Lex into it, she just kind of fit in really well. And, like, by that next year, like, we all sort of knew each other and just built on it right away.
I mean, obviously it was a really good start to the season. You won your first 16 games of the year. What do you guys remember about those first 16 games? What made you guys so dangerous? What clicked initially for you guys?
Ooh, dang. I'm trying to think.
I don't remember winning 16 in a row.
Okay, you beat Cal. They were number 10, and you beat St. John. They were number 25 in the middle of that 16-game stretch.
I remember Cal.
Yeah, the Cal.
Yeah.
No, it was at Cal, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was.
No, our junior year, it was at home. Because our senior year is when we came out here. Because we went to my house, remember?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember it. It all seemed to blend together.
Good,
I just know that we had our quarterback, and I was like, we about to win, and we had a good ass chemistry. Yep.
So, okay, I know you guys talked about it a little bit, but what made that chemistry so good? Obviously, you had a good relationship between classes, but was there one thing or two things that made that chemistry so good?
I mean, I feel like on and off the court, we could just like hang out and be goofy and like, I don't know, be ourselves. And I think everybody felt really comfortable with each other. And that's not something, especially in college, like that's not always the case with teams. And I think we just were able to translate some of our, like how we hang out off the court to how we're able to bond on the court too.
I think with our class of 5, like we were all so different, but by that point we had experienced, like all of us had probably experienced really high highs, but also lows. So I feel like we were all like really close because we had seen each other have so many successes, but also like some bad failures. So I feel like that brought us together a lot. And then with what E said of like genuinely caring for each other on and off the court and being able to just like have fun, I think was a huge part of our chemistry as well.
Maybe a part of that too for you guys is playing with Chelsea and having that great point guard that Chelsea was. Give me a sense of what it was like for you guys to play around Chelsea, and you had to be ready for the pass at any time, didn't you? Because she could fit it in those tight windows.
Can I say something that Tricia
Chelsea
never really
wasn't all
passed
that
back
good.
to me?
What'd you say? I didn't hear that.
I said I would pass to Tricia, but she didn't really pass back to me.
Oh wow. That's why you're the playmaker, Chelsea.
What was it? Single?
Single double.
Single double.
Somebody else answer that.
I mean, I was
Love
cool
you,
with
Pat.
hitting all the shots with the single double. Tricia had the single double play down pat. Could nobody stop it.
She sure did. She would come around that curl like, wow.
Man, every time. Or she'll go get her little layup, and she'll bring it back up to the top.
Well, I guess I'll answer the question since these two just want to keep harping on that. I think it was fun to play with Chelsea because of the sense that you never knew what was really, or they didn't know what was going to happen. I feel like we all developed a chemistry where you knew to have your hands ready or you'd maybe get hit in the face. But I think that also, it was funny that like Lex kind of filled that role too. I know that they played together for some time, but like Lex also had certain qualities that reminded me of Chelsea, that were kind of like that same playmaker mentality and could do so many different things that you never really like knew what to be prepared for.
Oh, and I feel like for me, I've studied and watched Chelsea a lot, especially when I was hurt. I saw her passes. I knew what she was going to do. So for me, it was easy to just adjust because every time she went left, more than likely she was going to pass right. Every time she went right, she was going to pass left to do it like a no look or something. So me being injured my sophomore year, I was really able to just study her and know her tendencies, know what she likes to do. So it was pretty much easy to get back on the court when I started playing with her again.
E, what about for you, it being down there in the post and trying to catch those passes?
Yeah, I mean, being a post player, that's like the only way you get the ball is if it goes past you.
Shut up, we always passed you the ball. You had the ball the whole time.
No, I'm saying like I can't bring the ball up the court. Like I have to trust that you guys are gonna pass it, And I'm fortunate to be playing with Chelsea now overseas, and it's just like being reminded of her game and how fun she is to play with and how she just makes everybody better. Like it's awesome, and we're lucky that we had somebody like her in college to play with. And we always have our hands ready. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm running down the court like this because you never know when the ball's gonna come. But yeah, it's just fun.
You guys are so nice. Can we go to the next question?
Yeah, we sure can. It's going to involve you a little bit too. I want to talk about that game against Maryland. What do you got? You came from, I think, down in the second half. Chelsea, you had 20 points in the second half, something like that, and you guys were able to come back and beat Maryland. What do y'all remember, if anything, about that game?
I don't.
Is that in
anything else to share?
Yeah, Chelsea had 20 in the second half.
At home?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was.
That's when our zone was working.
Sorry.
It's like a Chelsea.
I think I do remember. Chelsea, I think you
remember this game.
I think you had a couple skills at the end too, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't really remember.
It was in the
regular
season.
I feel like against Maryland and North Carolina, some of them are a blur because we had so much energy against them.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember maybe two of North Carolina games because it was just so much energy.
Yeah.
I really don't remember anything about it.
All right.
We don't even remember Maryland because they're not even like really our rivals. They just
Let them know.
Let them know, please.
Just kidding. It was a joke.
They're fake rivals.
There's that 10-game winning streak you guys are on in the middle of ACC play, and then that freak injury happens to Chelsea with the kneecap. for you guys, not Chelsea, I'll get to you and your thoughts on it in a second, but for the rest of you guys, just take me through what the mindset was after that happened. We're late in the season. Do you feel like, hey, we're going to pick up and keep going? Or how do you pick up the pieces and keep going after Chelsea gets hurt?
I mean, we went through a lot. I think our class, like in terms of injuries, Shay talked about her injury, and Chelsea had like injuries before that, or like, so we kind of we'd seen a lot. But like I think like that was such a shock to us, even though we'd seen a lot. I remember like I think it just shocked everybody. But I think at the same time, we really believed in Lex, and like we had seen like what Tricia said earlier, that Lex could do a lot of like, they're obviously different, unique players, but like they had some similar qualities. And I think we all just believed a lot in Lex and like what she could do, and that she'd shown it throughout the season. So I just like, obviously we were devastated because Chelsea is like just we were really good friends, and you never want to see that, and just also a great teammate, a great leader, and all that stuff. But I think like we wanted to just be positive and just make the best out of it. And I also really remember Chelsea being on the sideline a lot throughout the whole thing, like just like another coach on the bench, and always standing up on the sideline talking to people and trying to add value however she could.
Yeah, I think it was devastating like at the time. But on the flip side, like we didn't have time to be sad about it or to like question it, because like you said, we were in the heart of our season, like ACC play. So I think it was more so just like figuring out what everybody's new roles were going to be, and trying almost like, for me, I feel like I wanted to like black it out, because you didn't want to have like that sadness or like that fear go with you towards the season. That's at least for me how I kind of remember it.
And I also think it was an opportunity for Lex to play her natural role or position, because I feel like she was playing the two most of the time, but I think she was a natural one. So when she moved to the one, and I think Tricia moved to the two, I think it was very beneficial for our whole team, because I think we were actually playing our natural position versus when Chelsea and Lex were on the court together at the same time.
I mean, I just fell in line. I just did what Chelsea did. I fell off of what she was I did. I just fell in line when she got hurt. I definitely didn't want to see her kneecap go out of place. That was not pretty at all. So like when she went down, I just tried to do my best. I think Richa, everybody, like the juniors, and completed with like E-Jack and Richa, Tricia, like all y'all were just great mentors I just followed off of y'all. I just played off y'all when y'all played hard, and I just followed off when Tricia did her two-side. I was with the two-side. I was with everything. I think I was just loving what was going on in that moment and stuff like that. And I just wanted to see it just be happy, and I don't want to never see nobody go down, I looked up to all y'all in a different type of way. Everybody had a different type of game that I wanted. So I just try to just keep pushing and keep motivating and try to, get as many wins as possible with her going down, and try to just keep what she already had built at Duke and just keep the same flow going.
Chelsea, for you, how did you feel like your role changed after this happened?
I was devastated. I felt like we had a great momentum in that season. I felt like that was the year that we were being able to, go to the Final Four, have all the momentum, and we were still on that path when I got hurt. I was on the sidelines. I had surgery, so I had to miss some games, which was terrible. But once I was able to be back on the bench, it was like full throttle. I think I got in trouble because I was standing up too much and doing all that. So I think it helped me later down the line of like communicating, being able to see it from a different angle. I was with our assistant coach, Coach Brown at the time, a lot, just talking. I would go in before and like figure out what we're doing against them or who we're playing. So just communicating a lot, I think it forced me to kind of get outside my comfort zone.
you brought him up. I think everybody has a favorite Coach Brown story. So give me maybe a quick Coach Brown favorite memory.
Ooh.
I remember one of mine that sums up him really well. It was like one of my first workouts as a freshman. Like, I'm already scared enough. Like, there's a lot going through my mind. And we were doing layup lines where they would hit you with a pad. And I missed one of my layups. And he was standing underneath the basket. And he mumbled under his breath, like, I don't know how she ever scored 40 points in a game. She can't even make a layup. Purposely saying it so that I would hear him. And I remember like wanting to cry. I was like, okay, this is it.
He was so sarcastic. It was so funny. That's why me and him meshed so well, because I'm a little sarcastic as well. So it was great for me. I loved him. He always talked noise every time you did something. So it was good for me. I loved it.
I think everybody appreciated his sweater. Like, I have never seen anything like that before. Like, he had the pink game. He had it all. I feel like in his closet, he had it all lined up. Like, this is each game per season. If we go to the NCAA, I can go back to this one. Like, he had them all lined up. And, you know, I always appreciated that he would come just, you know, smooth, just stepping, just smooth into the game with his sweater on. And he can shoot free throws. Like, I tried to play him in free throws one time, and he was just like, I haven't worked out. I haven't even did anything. He would get and he would make it every single time. He knew his stuff, though. Like, he was smooth, old school, but he knew his stuff, and he knew how to, you know, get the best out of his player.
Well, you will remember, too, because every time we traveled, like, we used to have post meetings and guard meetings as soon as we get to a hotel, wherever we were playing. And our post meetings, like, the guards used to be done in like 20 minutes, and we'd be in there for an hour and a half, because Coach Brown was like, first of all, going over film for like the 7th time about like the team that we were playing. But then he had like a story for every arena that we were going to, and every coach that had ever coached there, and like every player he remembered. Like, he's been around like since the beginning of basketball, it seemed like he just knew everything. Like, he used to tell us all those stories.
Oh, remember when he would put names in our scouting report, in our long scouting reports, and then we missed it, he would come to us on the side. He was like, "You didn't read your scouting report." I was like, so before film, we would all get together. It was like, "Did you read it? Did you see your name? Did you see it?" We were all trying to figure out, make sure we did not miss. And he read it. After the games, we would write notes, and he read every single game, every single note, and he just wanted to be great and do the best for us.
Well, let's get back on the court and talk about the season. You had that loss late in the year against Miami. I'm not sure if it was home or away. I didn't write it down. But did that Miami loss going toward the end of the season, into senior night, into the postseason, was that kind of a wake-up call for you guys?
I mean, they ran the court on us.
Yeah.
It was a away game, I think, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, it was definitely a away game.
It was on the court.
They ran on the court when they beat us.
Oh. It was like their national championship.
I'm trying to remember that, though, because I think the next year it was at Miami, too, in another close game, but we, like, won at the last minute. So I'm trying to remember the year before we must have lost.
Yeah. I think they were, like, pressing us the whole game. I'm not sure.
That was because I think Raquana was there then.
Were they pressing us the whole game?
No, Raquana wasn't there.
Oh, no?
No,
it was that big. It was something. Elizabeth, you remember that big, tall, that light-skinned girl? She was tall, and we couldn't move off the block. You remember? And they were
with
like,
the light eyes. I forgot her name.
Yeah, they was like, you gotta push her off the block. We was like, yeah. Push her off the block.
Ooh.
I don't really remember the game though.
I don't. Yeah. I just think they were pressing us the whole game, and like I think we made like a couple bad turnovers at the end. I'm not sure though. I think.
Yeah, I'm assuming we didn't lose to them.
Yeah.
But it probably gave us a kick in the butt to turn it up and kind of refocus moving into like tournament games and stuff.
Yeah, I think especially considering we had a season of so many long win streaks, it's like Trish said, like just like a bounce back into reality that, hey, like when we get into the ACC tournament, like you can have one game like this and you're done. So definitely would have woken us up.
In the ACC tournament, played 3 games, won all 3 obviously, beat NC State, beat Florida State, and then beat North Carolina by 19 in the championship game. Before we talk about the championship game, I want to ask about the NC State game. Second straight year you guys were facing NC State in that first round game. Exercising maybe some demons, fair to say, in that first game after they beat you the year before?
I remember after the game, I was hurt and I was sweating. I was like, you guys better beat them. I was like, we can't lose to them again. But go ahead.
Yeah, I remember that, like, but I feel like we didn't put too much pressure on ourselves of like, it was more so that it was the tournament and we saw what like not being prepared in the first game could do. I think it was like a bonus that we happened to meet them in the first round again, but I think it was more so like we're not giving up the opportunity to not only make it to the championship, but win the championship. So I think we just had a better focus, and then that was just like a cherry on top of like, oh, and by the way, like what happened last year is not happening again.
What do you guys remember? Go ahead, sorry.
I just said I was nervous.
It was a tight game too.
It feels like every game with NC State is a tight game, no matter what year it is. It just seems like they always seem to play Duke tight.
Yeah.
Especially, I think playing at NC State is one of the hardest.
We had that one year
for some reason. It's
We
hard.
lost, like, did we lose once or twice at NC State?
Yeah.
It was like at NC State and at Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech is a hard place to play at too for no, like, what reason, I don't know.
It's like a weird shape. I feel like it's got like the high, it has the weird high, like, not ceilings, like where the stands are. It's just a weird setup.
And
so
we weren't allowed to the game through the mountains and like
yeah, the weird hotel, everything about it.
What do you guys remember about the championship game beating Carolina by 19?
I think Lex was going crazy. Somebody else go.
I remember Lex made a sweet pass for 3.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Lex was like ISOing people, like killing.
I remember that was like the time where the whole country was like, Alexis Jones has arrived.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this girl, she nice.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, it was like she was growing up right before our eyes. And like, there was the great momentum going into, the tournament. And I just remember so much togetherness. It was so like much pride and joy in winning this championship because what had happened previously, and we, everything we were overcoming that season. With me getting injured and just like trying to find a new chemistry on the court, because once you take, me out, and I was ball handling a lot, like it's just going to be different. And I was so proud to see how Lex kind of managed that, and then she just blossomed at the right time. And I think everybody were on their P's and Q's, no matter who we played, but it just, made it better that we whooped Carolina.
And I think that season we lost to Carolina both times in the regular season.
I think you swept them.
We did. I think we
lost.
Did you?
I don't think we lost until our senior year. We lost twice. Our senior year, we lost twice to them in the regular season. Then we beat them in a tournament.
Okay, that's the game. Okay,
yeah. And then we played Notre Dame in the championship.
Yeah, okay. I mixed those up.
Yeah, we killed them every time that year.
Alexis, you said you were nervous that first game in the ACC tournament. Before the tournament, as a total, 17 and a half points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, over 1 steal, scored 24 in the championship game. You were tournament MVP. When did the nerves start going away?
Oh, no, I was nervous the whole time, too. I got a lot to feel. I feel right there. There's a lot of pressure. But no, I just was nervous. I don't know why I had like butterflies in my stomach, but once like the ball got tipped off, and I think when like you get your first little shot out, it was just like, okay, the jitters go away. But to be honest, I really just followed off like Tricia and Haley and Elizabeth and Richa, and just like all the conversations that they had with me just keep going and keep flowing. I just let that just be like my mental of just like, okay, just do me, and you know, everything can just fan out and be the right way. I knew it wasn't going to be the same way as Chelsea, you know, so, but I didn't want nobody to feel like, okay, we don't have Chelsea no more, so we can't do it, you know. So I was like, okay, we can still, you know, trying to do this in a different type of manner. But I also had a lot of shoes to fulfill. Like, you know, Chelsea's like one of the greats right now in the WNBA. So like that's a lot of shoes to fill and come in and be trying to win. So I just wanted to be the best I could be at that point and just help in all different type of manners. And I was nervous, so I mean, but all the like, you know, like just being around y'all and having that, we had that energy going. I think that just gave me the momentum and the energy just to keep trying to play hard on just both ends of the court.
Did you guys sense that nervousness from her?
I didn't
either. But I also feel like me and Lex were like constantly talking, like every dead ball or like in between plays. Like I feel like me and her were always talking. So it just felt like natural, and you wouldn't have been able to tell like in the middle of the game.
And let's not forget that Lex had to come out the game and Tricia was running the point and was running everybody up and down the court, telling everybody at point guard position. When Coach P was like, all right, Tricia, you're gonna have to learn the one, she was like, I'm not doing this. No.
Well, little did I know I'd play it my whole senior year too, basically.
Everybody, huh?
But definitely I'd play it basically my whole senior year too. So
yeah,
it prepared you because you bringing up the car. I was like, look at her, playing point.
Oh boy.
Moving into the NCAA tournament phase, you guys were able to host the first couple rounds in Cameron, moved on into the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. What are your biggest takeaways and memories of just the NCAA tournament run as a whole that year?
Tournament's so fun. It's just like you don't worry about literally anything else but like your team and your games. Like you spend so much time together. And at least for me, I never got to the point of like, oh, I wish I was like back on campus. Like we were so isolated and just like in that moment that I feel like it was so fun, and every game had such high stakes that it was just like such a fun time to be a part of, like for any person who's competitive and likes to win. I just thought that it was a really fun time to be a part of.
That was the year we played at ODU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been the year we came to my house because I live like 20 minutes from there. So I feel like anytime we're like, to be able to play in front of like family and friends is really cool. So that's one thing that I do remember from the 2013 tournament.
I think our team bonding was really good that year too. I just remember us like playing spades in the hotel rooms and like playing, what was it, charades? I can't remember all the games we used to play on our phones and stuff with each other. So I just remember that. That was a great time. And we went far. I feel like we lost to Notre Dame, but it was a good game. I feel like we definitely could have won that game, should have won that game, but unfortunately we lost. But I just loved our team chemistry, our bonding together. I think that was the most connected we have been since we started.
I feel like sophomore, like I had a similar feeling that year as I did the year before. Like when we lost to Stanford and then we lost to Notre Dame, like the two best runs that we had, and like we were so close to getting to the Final Four.
Looking back at the roster, guys, 6 professional players on the roster. Now that it's been 7 years and you take a step back, how good was that team?
When you say it like
a long ago.
Right.
We were pretty good.
We were good. We were really good.
It was like we were good, but we all liked each other too. It wasn't like, hey, let's just go on the court and then go away. Like I think that's what made it so special, is that we were able to enjoy it off the court too. And even if you see now, like a lot of teams they can't jump on the Zoom call and have a chemistry like this and just joke. Like, I think that's what made it so fun, is that everybody cared for each person. And you knew what each other were going to do on the court. And I think that just showed throughout the whole season.
I think
all I got to say,
a little bit bittersweet though, is like you mentioned, like we were good. You look at our talent, you look at our roster, but like part of me still like misses the fact that like we never went to a Final Four. And I think, if I could do one thing over, I'd love to like have one more season back, maybe have a couple more people healthy, or you know, our junior year finish that. There's so many different things that I just wish we could have changed, because we were so good and like we worked so hard for it, that it's like shocking to look back and say that this group of people never went to a Final Four.
That's unfortunate.
I definitely would do it all over again. I said I definitely would do it all over again. I wish I could.
Wait, can we go back?
Does it feel like it's been 7 years, or does it feel like it's been yesterday?
Kind of both. I mean, once you start like naming the games and we're trying to recall, I'm like, dang, that was 7 years ago. So I see why I don't remember all these details. But then I think there are certain moments where you're like, oh man, like I feel like we were just playing in Cameron, or, you know, like we were just playing in the tournament. So it's like a little bit of both.
Yeah, for me, definitely with 3 kids, it's like, yeah, it's been 7 years.
I feel the same way. I feel like it's been 7 years.
I feel that way.
I do and don't. I remember like it was yesterday. Some things like I remember like it's yesterday, but then like when you think about it, you're like, wow, yeah, that was a lot of years ago since I've been in Cameron playing, or like things like that. But
yeah.
Last couple thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up. You mentioned playing in Cameron. Obviously, such a special building, and everybody has so many special memories about playing in Cameron. Is there one game that stands out, or one memory for you guys individually or as a group that you will cherish about your time in Cameron?
It's hard to pick one game.
yeah.
We had that one game where we like really kicked Carolina's like.
Yeah, that's the game I was just.
I think that was after what Tricia was saying, that we lost to them a couple times.
No, I think that was sophomore.
That was our sophomore. Yeah,
we killed them. Like we were raining threes.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we probably had like 23s that game.
yeah.
There's a lot.
That was fun. And then we beat I know we beat Maryland too. It was a good game.
Yeah.
I think the one game I remember was, you remember Oklahoma State? We was in the, I think it was the Sweet 16, and Corey went off.
Yeah.
And we were about to lose.
That was crazy. We were about to lose, but we was down by like 20, I think.
And I didn't make a 3 like all game, and then I finally hit one in like the midst of our run, and I was like, yes.
I was for sure nervous. We made that comeback. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
Last thing for me, and we can hang out and chat afterwards if you guys wanted to hang out and chat. Anything you want to say to the Duke fans that have been there since you guys were there, before you guys were there, and are still there supporting the Blue Devils?
Yeah, the Crazies were awesome. That's what makes Cameron so fun, and like so many good memories. That's why we can't pick one, because all of the games that we had, whether it was like a top ranked opponent or just UNC every year, like they were part of the reason that made it so fun, and like the environment so competitive. And I think we had a great following of like super fans that you'd see at every single game, and it meant a lot to us to have that. So I would just say thank you to them, and hopefully they're still keeping the tradition alive and supporting the women's basketball team.
Yeah, I think you can't say Cameron without knowing that there's Cameron Crazies there. And I think that's just something you appreciate. And I know that there were times in a timeout, we'll be in the heat of a moment, and one of the songs would come on that the Cameron Crazies do the clap to. What song is that, Pat? And we could be on the sideline.
What song is that?
It was every time we touch, right? Okay. And we would be doing it in the huddle, and then like she would be saying the play, and we would be like over there, like.
Oh my!
And it was but we never got caught. We knew what play we were doing. But I think that just made it so special is that we look forward to that moment when they would play that song in the second half, and we heated the moment down to, up to, and we would still do it. So I think it just made it special, and the special memories would come along with it.
This has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking some time to do this, and hope you guys stay safe, and we hope to see you back in Cameron soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.